Welcome back to this new inspirational video. Today I wanted to discuss the point whether it's impossible to realize certain dreams. Some people go through life, they have dreams obviously, but then they still feel it's impossible. Why do they feel this? Well, first of all, if we really think about it, it's mostly because we don't believe we can achieve the dream that we have. Now, something like belief is always a faculty, an experience, a power in the mind, most of all, that develops over time. So the more aspects you achieve of your dream, the more you start to believe that you can do something. That makes a lot of sense. So this is actually the key point right here, right now, is that no matter how big your dream is, if you start believing in it, yes, it becomes possible to realize it. How do you develop that belief? Well, it develops over time, and especially the more you're involved in certain activities concerning that dream, small as they may be, they might seem totally insignificant to you, but they will add to that faculty of that power of belief within your consciousness that yes, you can do this. This brings me back to a dream that I had for this inspirational channel. A couple years ago, in 2016, I did experiment with making these videos, but if I'm being really honest, it was even way back in 2011 that I made a few so-called inspirational videos and I posted them on YouTube on a totally old channel that I don't even have by now. But it was, let's just say, it wasn't really that interesting at the time because I was still felt like more of a student than someone that could share based on life experiences about the matters of the mind. So I would always be very nervous talking about it, and even though I tried not to show that, it never felt quite like, yeah, this is really on the level that I want to do it at yet. So, and this was all because I didn't fully believe yet that I could realize this dream of making content, in that case, to inspire humanity. But now I do have to believe, and I don't have any issues talking about the mind at all, and keep working on it consistently because I'm totally convinced in what I speak about. I have a strong conviction that this will help humanity if they really consider these points for themselves. They will figure that out for themselves. So this belief in this case also developed over time from experience, from doing little things concerning my bigger dream. So even for me at first it seemed like the dream might be impossible simply because I didn't have the belief necessary in order to make it happen. This might very well be the only issue you'll ever face for yourself. The idea that you have your dream, you know what it is you want, but then because you don't truly believe in it yet, it might start to feel as if it's impossible, even though you know you want this. So I wrote something on my monitor here. There's no such thing as an impossible dream. Having a desire for the realization of something far beyond what you've ever achieved in your life, which you would be incapable of achieving. There's no such thing. Anything you really honestly desire can be realized by you. So you better start believing in yourself, so you can discover what you are really capable of doing. I do not go along with the reasoning of mass consciousness myself. I have an individual mind. I might as well make use of it, and I suggest you do the same. So in other words, you have this great dream in your heart and soul, but for some reason you feel it's impossible to realize, and then you ask your friends or family or your closest peers, do you think I can achieve this? And perhaps because the dream is so big, they may say you can never do this, or it's probably unrealistic for you to realize this. Well, don't listen to any of that stuff. It doesn't help you. It obviously doesn't help you. But yet we trust these people, so we ask them for advice. You see, the thing is, we have to reach a point where we trust enough in ourselves and in our abilities that we don't really have to ask others whether we can or cannot do something any longer. Now, how do you trust in your own abilities in the right way? First of all, ask yourself, what is this dream all about that I have? What sort of activities would I be involved in? You see, if the dream is to just travel, well, that's actually pretty easy. All you need to do is save up money so that you can travel. So you can do that through a job or your own career. That's all pretty easy goals. Let's say your dream is being a musician. Well, what sort of activities would you be involved in? Probably in the production of music, probably giving live shows, probably releasing music. So these are all different activities that are part of that bigger dream that you want to start working on individually speaking. And the better you get at doing those things individually, the more you start to believe in your own abilities to work on your dream and make it happen. And the more you work on these little details, the more the bigger dream becomes available to you, becomes possible for you to realize. It's an interesting spiral that goes upwards, not downwards, for anyone that does this. If your dream is to become a writer, and you want to be a best-selling author perhaps, what sort of elements are involved in it? Well, of course, the writing itself is involved in it. Now, I know of people, I've heard of people that have others write for them. I personally have never done that, but if for whatever reason you feel better doing it that way, maybe that is an option for you, I don't know. I always like to write it myself because it seems more authentic that way. But you see, the activities involved in becoming a best-selling author are, for one, to write a book. So you become better and better at writing your own material. And that is when you start to develop belief and the realization, wait a minute, I can actually work on this. I can actually do something with this. Now that I look at what I've created so far, I can actually go out into the world and share this. The sharing part depends on the publisher, right? So you can try and find a publisher. A lot of times you hear this, as cliche as it is, that many will reject your manuscript because they don't believe in what you wrote or think it's already been done too much, so it's not special enough. But you just keep going, you keep searching for a publisher. And if you can't find a publisher, you can always consider self-publishing, but that also really would mean that you would have to build and reach your own audience in order to find buyers for a particular book that you wrote. But again, these are all activities that you can get good at. You can study them individually. So all I'm getting at here is that if you feel that your dream is impossible, it's probably because you're looking at an element of the dream that might simply be impossible for you to act upon from your current circumstances. That's really all there is to it. Think about it. So all you have to do is open up your mind and really analyze that dream that you have and consider, what is the element that I could act on? What sort of things would I be involved in to begin with if this dream were reality? And then start noticing particular ones where you realize, I could be involved in this aspect already now that I think of it. And then you realize, if I do start working on this, I'm already in the activity on the road towards manifesting the bigger dream to begin with. Therefore, I dare to say to you that it is not impossible for you to realize your dream. But this goes beyond physicality also. If you have a dream that you really want to realize, but for whatever reason you can't do it physically yet, maybe something bad happens to you, like let's not get into specifics because we don't want to necessarily think about it, but let's say you suddenly become unable to act on your dream because physically bad things have happened to you out of nowhere, right? Well then, if you go to sleep at night, you can still enjoy the fulfillment of your dream in another dimension of your being. Now, of course, we take this one very lightly usually. We're like, well, I don't care if I can enjoy it in another dimension of my being. I want to enjoy it here physically speaking. Well, this is how you go about it, physically speaking, is to start doing the elements that you can do, and then the bigger parts will become open and available to you as well as you keep working on it. This is something you have to trust in this process, because it will work. It's going to make great things happen for you if you start to act like this on your own dream. But even if you had a dream, I've said this many times before, where you didn't fully realize it physically speaking and you were to die earlier than the realization of your dream, you're going to find out there's other dimensions in this universe through which you can still experience the realization of your dream. It might sound bizarre, but it's the truth of life, because life is eternal, and that's a beautiful thing. But it shouldn't mean that you're like, oh, okay, I don't really have to do anything physically, so I'll just wait until I pass away and then I'll enjoy my dream somewhere else. That's not the mindset to have either, because while we're here, we might as well make the best of it and have the most fun with it. And the most fun in life that you have is if you're progressively working towards something that seems impossible at first, but then by working on it, you realize it is actually possible after all. Because that is what causes you to grow as a person. It really brings a deep sort of fulfillment. If you know that you set a goal where at first you were like, I don't know for sure if I can achieve this. This seems impossible. Set the goal anyway and decide you're gonna go for it anyway, even though you might not be able to act on the entire dream itself because you don't have the resources or anything. As you keep that dream in your mind, no matter how impossible it seems, over time you're going to find that you'll discover more and more smaller activities, you could say, that are part of this bigger picture that you could act upon, and then you start to realize more and more this dream might not be so impossible after all of realization. And that brings so much joy and so much confidence in yourself and so much expansion inside your consciousness about what you're capable of doing. That is a sort of reward that you cannot get through any other activity. It's like you can't compare with anything else, because it really makes you as a human being feel so much better about yourself and your life. And then you no longer have to set aside certain dreams because you think at first they're impossible, simply because you don't believe they can happen, and second of all because you don't know yet how you can make it happen. But belief and knowing are two things. They're two things that develop over time. As you keep working on it, as you keep holding on to it, as you keep doing stuff that you feel inspired to do, as little as they may be, you start to develop the belief and the know-how and how to keep going about your dream, no matter how impossible it seemed at first. This is absolutely beautiful. This should give you some hope that no matter what your dream is, if you felt like it was impossible to realize, consider these points and consider them well, because they're gonna help you out, I can guarantee it. Now, with that being said, if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing to receive inspirational videos on a regular basis. And never forget, dear viewer, that we are the dreamers.